welcome to the Rundown podcast. We are back better than ever. I'm Abe Hicks, joined by my main man, Dylan Kearns. Baseball season has started. Spring training games have started. Dylan, how you doing? How you feeling?
I'm feeling great. I don't know about Joe Musgrove. Rocky
That
first
was
inning
rough.
guy. He didn't even get an out recorded in that one. A snowman in the first inning for the Dodgers. So definitely good. I'm on this schedule now where I sleep overnight or I work overnight, and I had to make sure that I was up in time to watch this baseball game. Sacrifice some sleep, saw the 8 runs. I was like, you know what? I saw a Fernando Tatis interview. I saw a couple star players smack some balls around. I can go back to bed. But, it was just a great afternoon. Baseball's around the corner. We saw players in action on Thursday. So that's things what we need to see. It's definitely been a long off season, but it's been one that I'm ready for it to end so we can start getting those gloves popping again here in the spring.
Yes. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So we'll just go right into it. So obviously there were a lot of moves made, but there is still a lot of moves still to be made. We still have a lot of big name free agents that are still available. Talking Cody Bellinger, Blake Snell, Jordan Montgomery, Matt Chapman. All those guys at the timing of this recording are unsigned. And may I also share that those 4 guys share the same agent in Scott Boras. So Dylan, how are you feeling so far about the somewhat slow off season and guys still unsigned, and we're in the heart of spring training?
It's not good. It's not good for the sport. You need deadlines when it comes to signing players in the off season. There needs to be something that goes on, whether it's a deadline or something in terms of free agent signings. I went to the Cubs convention in January, and I sat there it was the front office convention thing that they had, a little 2-hour meeting with Jed Hoyer, the president of baseball operations, general manager Carter Hawkins as well there. And they talked about how deadlines speed things up in the sport, which needs to be done. They did it on the field with the pitch clock and stuff like that. But I'm talking off the field here in the offseason. There was a deadline for Shota Imanaga to sign a deal, the Japanese star out of Japan that went and signed with the Chicago Cubs. There was a deadline for him to sign on a January Friday. And if he didn't sign, he was going back to Japan. So what happens? He gets signed that day. There's deadlines and it works. You look at the trade deadline, players get traded at a certain time. That's what you need in this sport to speed up the offseason. If not, you're going to have guys out there for years upon years just waiting. We saw Dallas Keuchel a couple of years ago wait until August to sign with the Atlanta Braves. Craig Kimbrell did the same thing with the Cubs. And these players, the problem with it is the players want so much money, especially the Boras clients. They want to drive up the price range. And these clubs are like, okay, we'll just wait. Like, there's a waiting game being played. Both of them are standing there with their hands behind their back saying, I'm not budging. Cody Bellinger still doesn't have an offer on the table, Abe. There was a baseball game that took place on Thursday, and he doesn't have an offer on the table. There's a problem, whether we see it or not. There is.
I like where you're going there, but I disagree. We'll have to disagree here. And I'm going to tell you why there can't be a deadline. It can't happen. So all the power would be in ownership's hands. Owners can lowball a player dramatically, and a player would have no choice but to accept the offer because of the deadline. Making a free agency deadline, I would promise you, would end up in a lockout, and we don't want that. So I'm going to ask Rob Manfred to tread carefully here, because the MLBPA, we know it as the strongest union in all the sports, and that is true. And the strongest union in all of sports is not going to give up that much leverage. A deadline would essentially give owners all the leverage, and that can happen. So the market value for a player, and essentially, he can't get what he wants. And I think that should be okay for a player if he wants to wait out for the money that he wants. He's in the free agent market, meaning that if ownership or the club wants to give him that, then that can happen. But if you want to start restricting guys and restricting players to when they can sign, that's going to drop their value. They already have to wait 6 years until they can hit free agency. Now you want to have a forced hand on free agency. That's not going to go over well.
I still disagree with that take. I mean, I see where you're coming from in terms of the player getting lowballed, but there comes a time where sometimes everyone knows your value. This is stupid money that we're playing with here in the baseball world. That's why the sport takes so long in terms of their offseason. This is money you've never seen given out in any other sport. outside of max contracts in the NBA. The best hockey player in the world is making like 8 years, 86 million. There's like in hockey,
Yeah.
you're not making any money. Football, the star quarterbacks get paid, the pass rushers, stuff like that. But baseball's a sport where you only get maybe you hit only 1 out of 4. You get 4 at bats a game, and you play so many games throughout the course of the year, but you're still only one player in terms of 9 in the lineup, and you're making all this money. So there comes a time where you have to realize that things need to be done in this sport. It's a slow enough sport on the field. It's got to speed up in the off season. There has to be something that changes in terms of getting getting things done. In terms of a deadline, I just think it needs to happen. This has gone on for too many years. We saw so many years players just keep waiting and waiting.
Bryce Harper.
Forever. Yeah, Harper. Yeah. He took forever to sign. And once again, another Boris guy there. So these Boris clients are just, I mean, he gets the money out of them at the end of the day.
He gets the job done.
It's annoying as a fan just to sit back and be like, you know what? This is just complete and utter donkey stuff. Like we're not talking about this. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. All right. Well, moving on to some guys that eventually did sign to a new team or got traded to a new team. We have a new segment for you called Faces and New Places. And we're going to start off with Chris Sale. Dylan, Chris Sale, Red Sox are great, White Sox are great. Guy who likes to cut up uniforms, which we will get into later. Chris Sale is now a member of the Atlanta Braves. What do you make of that acquisition for the Braves?
I love this move. I really do. I love this move a lot because when you look at Chris Sale, obviously he's had the injuries. He's had some unfortunate injuries. He's had some that maybe could have been controllable with his motion and stuff like that. But I think this is a move that Alex Anthopoulos can make with the Atlanta Braves. This is a move that he can go ahead and say, you know what? We can take that risk. We can afford to do it because there's certain moves that you can do. Like he's a left-handed arm. If he doesn't make, I don't know, say he only makes 10 starts this year, I think the Braves can still survive and win about 90 games. Like there's not a wrong move here. Now the extension kind of shocked me. They don't really like to pay high dollar money to big players, obviously, but that has been his mindset. Whenever he acquires a player, he goes ahead and makes sure that he locks him up. He did it with Sean Murphy. He did it with the first baseman, Matt Olson. So Anthopoulos really does get his players going in that area. But I think Chris Sale in that situation gives him a fresh start. It felt like in Boston, he won the World Series, and then it's been injury riddled after that. So he's trying to find his place right back on a big league mound where he can really start to get things going again. And hopefully it's a career resurgence for him heading back down to the South.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think this is a move. This is what I would call a good risk, right? If it works out, we could see the Atlanta Braves hosting the Commissioner's Trophy in October. If it doesn't, I don't think it will have that huge of an impact because usually the Braves are stacked. They're so smart front office wise. I think this is one of these things where Chris Sale, I think his best days are behind him. I think we can agree on that. But if he can stay healthy, I think he'll ultimately be a net positive for the Braves. But don't expect Chris Sale to take the bump every 5 days and expecting an automatic 7 innings with double-digit strikeouts every time, right? Those days are long gone. But I definitely like this move from the Braves, and I think if he can stay healthy, I think it can ultimately be a net positive for the Atlanta Braves.
I like that as well. I think he can. Yeah. I think he can make it happen.
Yeah. Moving to another big time starting pitcher acquisition. Now we're going to the AL East. And that AL East team is the Baltimore Orioles picking up Corbin Burnes. Dylan, have they solidified an ace in that rotation?
I think they have. Corbin Burnes to the Baltimore Orioles really got me excited. Not that he's out of the NL Central, which I was hoping for, being a Chicago Cubs fan. I'm wearing the Padres hat because they played today. But the Corbin Burnes thing, I really think that this is a good move in terms of their organization because they have such a surplus of young talent. and they're at a win now mode. They won over 100 games last year. Brandon Hyde has just been a great manager for them. Remember, he was a bench coach on the Cubs 2016 World Series run, or he was under Madden for that as well. So, I mean, it's such a good place for him to go. They needed more starting pitchers. They got John Means back. Bradish a little banged up. He's gonna, I believe, start the year on the injured list. But they needed a bona fide starting pitcher with proven experience in that rotation because they got some good years out of some young guys. You still have some nice talent in there with a Grayson Rodriguez and stuff like that. But adding a Corbin Burns, just another veteran who proves he can take the baseball, and he's definitely one of the best pitchers in baseball.
Yeah, absolutely love this move, and I also hate this move because he's now in the AL East, and he's gonna have to face that Yankees lineup a whole bunch. But no, this is a great pickup from the Baltimore Orioles. Think about this, Dylan. They made this move the day after they got new ownership. That move was ownership saying, "Hey, last year wasn't an anomaly. We just didn't win 100 games for no reason." No, no, no. That was a move saying that we're here to win and we're here to stay. Dylan, you mentioned it. They currently have the best farm system in baseball. This year is now the third straight year with the number one prospect in baseball, with this year being Jackson Holliday. So now, adding Corbin Burns, if you can solidify the back end of that rotation, hey, watch out. But by adding that ace in Corbin Burns, the Baltimore Orioles, man, they're for real.
They are. I mean, that's going to be an interesting division. I'm
Yeah.
not ready. I think that the team on your ball cap might be making a little push.
I hope so. Speaking of the old New York here, Juan Soto, one of the biggest acquisitions of the offseason. Yankees pick up Juan Soto, and man, do I love the addition. Now, I'm going to take the Yankees blinders off here. And take the Yankees blinders off here and just speak the honest truth. Yankees needed a superstar that cannot just hit home runs. No, they needed a big time bat to spray the ball around the field and is a really good hitter. Juan Soto fits that description. He's not a boom or bust guy. He's one of the best hitters in all of baseball. And he also balances that lineup too. Right? Adding a lefty in Yankee Stadium. That's perfect. But now Aaron Judge is going to get some cushion and have some opportunities to get more RBIs and take a lot more pressure off of Aaron Judge. And it also seems like Juan Soto's love being a Yankee. You check the social medias. His PS5 controller is a Juan Soto pinstripe controller. But usually we see with the Yankees, big time names that are newcomers to the Yankees, they either shrink or they shine in the bright lights of Yankee Stadium, right? We saw it with Sonny Gray. He couldn't handle it. Josh Donaldson, Joey Gallo, Jacoby Ellsbury, they couldn't handle it. But I believe in Juan Soto. He's built to be a Yankee, and he'll do just fine.
I love this move. I do. I really love Juan Soto because I think in this situation, now I will come out on the record and say this is a 1-year rental. He'll be in another New York uniform in the next year or so. But this is going to be a rental piece for the Yankees. This is one more run with Aaron Boone to prove, hey, we gave you a very good team, especially after they go out and sign Snell in a couple days. Trust me on that one. Blake Snell in this rotation, I think. And plus, you look at a Juan Soto. You mentioned spraying the ball around the field. I'm more excited about the added lefties, not just him, but the Alex Verdugos and Trent Grishams, the other left-handed sticks that can come in and hit in that lineup. And it's definitely something that can impact the balance of that team. They've needed balance for years. They've needed balance since Mark Teixeira left the roster. They needed balance since Granderson left, and they still have never had it. So adding another left-handed bat, they got some of that when they traded for Rizzo a couple of years ago. But I think it's just a great star player in a star market. And how do you not love that? I think he's going to spray the ball around the field, and he's gonna put up monster numbers. Could be an AL MVP.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And I want to follow up with this. Like I mentioned, Aaron Judge is going to have some pressure off of him now. Do you think he will play even better without that pressure?
I think so. I think at times last year he was doing too much. Now I am worried about his toe. I don't know if you saw that come out the other day, but
he said it's something. He said it's something he's going to have to maintenance for the rest of his career. Don't like hearing that.
And he's a center fielder, so at that frame. I hate that news. Maybe Stanton, he's slim. Maybe you can throw him out there.
I know. There's there.
That terrible speed rounded in third. Maybe he's got some gas now. Put him in center. But no, I think in terms of Judge, maybe DH him more. I mean, I guess you do have a good center fielder in Grisham. That could be something that could play there, but you could still move Verdugo over. I don't really like him in center, but it gives you the opportunity and option now. You lose a little bit of offense if you do put Grisham in there in center field, but it's still an opportunity to go out and make some moves in terms of going on there with Judge and center. I think it's something to maintenance.
Question, another follow-up. At what point do we see the Yankees move Judge to first base? Let him take some. He took a few practices at first base last year. We've already seen the Phillies do this with Bryce Harper. I feel like this is in the near future, right? Because, like I said, that foot, that toe, that definitely worries me. I don't want them, logging a 6'7" Aaron Judge out in the center field every day. That's not very conducive for the contract and for the life of the Yankees.
I think I see DH more than I see first base with him. I think with that toe, you don't need him in the field. It's just an added stress. Like if you're a DH, keep him on the bench, relax, go hit 4 times a night. Maybe first base is where he puts Stanton if he's got better feet. I know he's getting older. He's a big frame over there, but you could put him over there. And then at that point, you could have Verdugo in left. You could play Soto in right. You could figure out center field as it comes, maybe a deadline acquisition there if you want. But I just think that first base could be a better fit for a Giancarlo Stanton than an Aaron Judge.
No, I can't disagree with that. Moving on to our final faces in new places. And this guy was the premier pitcher in the free agent market, and that guy is Yoshinobu Yamamoto, somebody who I thought the Yankees were in on, and the Dodgers came and swooped him up. But Dylan, how do you think Yoshinobu Yamamoto will be in a Dodgers uniform?
Talk about pressure. I want to talk about, you know what? Let's go 2-box here, Abe. Let's talk about Yoshinobu Yamamoto. This guy comes right in, and he's got so much. I don't think a player has more pressure going into a situation than Yamamoto in baseball.
Really?
You're talking about a guy.
Hold on. Not even Shohei Ohtani.
I don't think so. Because Ohtani didn't sign for stupid money. He's the highest paid pitcher in all of baseball. In all of baseball, Yamamoto is the highest paid pitcher. He's going to take the ball on opening day, most likely. I don't think you give the ball to Glass now. I think if you sign Yamamoto, you got to give him that money. You got to give him that ball. But I think this is just crazy. I've never seen it in my entire life. 25 years old, throws the ball really hard. He throws it really nice. He looks solid. But I think that this is a good fit. Where better could you put a player like Yamamoto, though? You've seen a lot of international stars, especially Japanese stars, shine in LA, whether it's –
They like being on the West Coast.
Yeah, the West Coast really fits, and you have Ohtani there as well. So the deferred situation with that kind of is strange. But Yamamoto got his money, got it up front. He's ready to pitch. So he's a funky guy. He throws the ball really hard. I think he's going to be one of the nastiest pitchers in all of baseball. But once again, it comes with almost unrealistic expectations in terms of what he's supposed to bring. Because you see the guys that are making this much money, they're perennial Cy Young contenders. And you're putting a guy who's never thrown a pitch at the major league level right up there with those guys. So not a lot of star power in the National League in terms of starting pitching. But, he's definitely got to be one of those horses that they've definitely bucked out the money to.
Yeah, I think it's always interesting seeing the transition of Japanese pitchers coming from Japan to the MLB. Now, Yamamoto has elite stuff. Just insane stuff. The Dodgers post, I believe it was the first day of pitchers and catchers, they posted Yamamoto's bullpen, and it was filthy. It was disgusting. He might have the best splitter in all of baseball right now, and honestly might be like just stuff-wise, he's probably top 3 in all of baseball. But I do expect him, like you said, there's pressure there, and that's why I agree with you a little bit. I expect him to go through some growing pains facing a big league lineup every single night. I don't think it's going to be all smooth candy and roses, the first 2 months. I think once he gets his feet wet, once get through the All-Star break, July, August, dog days of August, I think we will see the best of Yamamoto.
I could see that too. I think when you look at him, he has the ability to definitely work through that. And you saw with Kodai Senga last year. Wasn't the
Mm.
best start, but there he had a stretch like towards the middle of the year where he looked like one of the best pitchers in baseball. Also going to start the year on the injured list.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. All right, so transitioning from a big time pitcher free agent signing that's getting paid a lot of money to a infielder for the Los Angeles Angels that is also getting paid a ton of money, and that was a huge free agent acquisition in 2019. Anthony Rendon, man, Anthony Rendon has been for an off season with not a lot of news. Anthony Rendon has been in the news quite a bit. Go back a few months ago, he said, "Hey, MLB, you need to shorten the season," which I thought was asinine coming from him, right? Somebody who doesn't even play, doesn't even want to play. And then we've seen it before with him getting the incident last year with a fan. And a few days ago, he came out and said, "Hey, baseball's not a top priority for me." What's going on with Anthony Rendon?
All right. We need to get the Washington Police Department to go ahead and get some handcuffs out. Go to the ballpark at the great ballpark there, Nationals Park, and just go ahead and arrest Anthony Rendon for theft of millions and millions of dollars from the Washington Nationals. This is absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I understand his statements. I understand that he comes out and says, "Look, my family comes first. I respect it. I respect it so much. But you don't love ball." That's one question every scout asks every player. And it's almost laughable. I want to laugh here at the front office of the Washington Nationals and also everything that went into this decision. Because how do you not, or not the Nationals, sorry, the Los Angeles Angels. That's who needs the LAPD. My bad. Sorry. But you look at this and you understand, how do you not see that this guy does not love the sport, does not love the game of baseball? He's coming off this high of a World Series run. And Anthony, if for some reason you're watching this video, I just got to speak to you. You understand you were on a track to become a Hall of Famer? Had you not become, for lack of a better word, weak when it comes to what's going on behind baseball scenes, when it comes to stepping out on the field and taking the you're holding back two Hall of Famers on your team the last couple of years with Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout. You're keeping them from the postseason because you're sitting out for 4 months with a stubbed toe. Like, what are we doing here? I mean, it's getting to the point. Last year, the reporter situation in the clubhouse, they asked him, "Hey, how's it going?" Like, blah, blah, blah. And he said he's not playing the end of the year. Without any designation, didn't say anything. He basically just blew off the reporters and was like, "I'm done." Yeah. He either got hurt once and lost his love for the game, which maybe that happened, or he took all this money from the Angels and was like, "All right, nice. All right, honey. Well, we're set up for life. I'll go grab the hammer, hit me in the knee a couple times. We'll be done. We won't even have to worry about it." So this is just a terrible situation for Anthony Rendon. I know it's a terrible situation for the Angels. Rendon just is a disgrace to the sport right now. Like, obviously, you put your family first. I'm cool with it. But then again, at the end of the day, you can't be doing or saying the things that you're saying. Just shut up and play.
Yeah, I I feel like in this situation with Anthony Rendon, this was Anthony Rendon, what he was saying the other day. He was saying, "I got my bag, I got that check, and I'm out. I did everything I needed to do to get that bag, to get that money. All right, I don't need to try anymore. I don't need to try anymore." The other thing is, I understand that baseball isn't the end all be all for Rendon. I understand that faith and family are more important to baseball. I agree with you. A lot of guys feel that way, right? But where this bites Rendon is that he already has baggage. He doesn't have the leeway to make these type of comments. And he signed a huge contract. So by default, he has to realize he has to take some responsibility because the Angels have invested in him. Therefore, he has to give something back. He has to act like he cares a little bit. When you're getting invested in, you want to show, you want to be thankful for that investment. Anthony Rendon could care less.
So, yeah.
Oh,
he couldn't. He couldn't care less. It's
okay. To our last, just what a shame. So now moving on to something else, the MLB that they couldn't care less about, the uniforms. The uniforms this year are an absolute catastrophe. Rob Manfred, 2029 can't come soon enough because fans are upset. I am clearly upset. I made a bunch of TikToks regarding it. Players are upset about it. These uniforms look like something we could go online and purchase at DHgate, Dylan. That's how bad they look. And I am appalled that MLB players have to put that on their backs. They're awful.
The DHgate jerseys are better because they're stitched. But
that's very true.
I'll tease this for another episode. I'm not so this 2029 Manfred thing can't come soon enough. I don't know if I agree with that. My thoughts have changed on Mr. Manfred. But I'll say this. The uniforms are a joke. Shout out to the decision that went ahead and why did they even produce them? Like, why did they put them out there like that?
Hold on. Don't you think they would want advice from the players? Do you think they went to players and said, hey, try this on. Let us know how this looks and let us know how it feels. Do you think they got the players' approval? Because I don't think so. There's no way they got players' approval. There's absolutely no way.
The craziest part of it all is not the jerseys. It's the pants.
The see-through pants.
There's going to be a lot more girls at the ballpark this year, Abe. A lot more women checking out these ball players, especially Spencer Strider. The day he takes the ball, there's going to be 500 women in the front row just sitting there with binoculars, just ready to watch Strider chuck the ball. They're going to have a hot dog in their hand. They're going to have a cold beer watching Spencer Strider at Truist Park, and they're going to love every second of it. And the husband's going to be like, oh, she really likes this Strider. Yeah, no shit. A lot of us is, but no. I think the jerseys too, like the arch of the names and the lettering and the small font, need binoculars, especially if you're
hold on. They also moved the MLB logo. It's below the collar now.
It's not a good touch. It's ugly. It's ugly. The press on thing. And I heard this from the leadoff spot on MLB Network Radio earlier, a couple mornings ago. They said, what happens when it gets so hot outside that the pressed on jersey just melts off and a number melts off?
Or hold on. What if it rains? A rain out. Players are just getting drilled in the rain. Those pants are going to look like plastic bags.
Yeah.
That's how clear it will be for everybody to see through.
Hefty.
Literally, I don't get it. I honestly, I know Nike isn't making the jersey. They subleased it to Fanatics, and I think that might be the real issue. Because I was fine with the Nike jerseys. I have a bunch of them. They're really nice quality, and now they're more expensive for less quality. Why are we monopolizing sports apparel? I mean, it just leaves no room for creativity, and you start cutting corners to make a profit. I don't mean to get on my economic soap opera here, but I'm just so disappointed. I do think MLB is going to make a change, though. I think the outrage has been so large. MLBPA is upset about it. I don't think it's going to. I think they're going to make a change. So, Dylan, any final thoughts?
One more thing. What happens when you dive into second? And the Chicago rips off the chest, or the New York rips off the chest? That happened to me in Little League. My subway came right off because I face planted heading into third one. It was not good. No free ads.
No free ads. Yeah. Subway is not a sponsor yet.
If they want to send us some submarine sandwiches, we'd be all over it.
Yes, sir. We'd plaster their logo. Boom, no problem here on the pod here. But thank you all for tuning in. We appreciate all the support. with the start of this baseball season, more content is going to be pushed out your way regarding MLB news, MLB The Show. Come to the rundown because we're going to bring forth that content for you. If you're new to the channel, new to the podcast, please leave a like, subscribe, follow us on our socials. They're down on the lower right corner. But thank you for all the support, and we'll catch you next week on the Rundown